Welcome back to the Tim Weichselbaum Show. This is episode 35. I'm coming to you loud, proud, and in control. I'm a very self-regulated, well-rounded human male being. And this is how I'm going to talk for the entire episode, because sometimes you just get locked into an accent and you just can't get out of it. What could I say? I don't have my own way of talking. I just copied other people, and now I have this weird hodgepodge, this weird conglomerate of accents that just come out of my mouth. What could I say? Sometimes it sounds like Donald Trump. Sometimes it sounds like Blagojevich. I have a very Blagojevich, I don't know, him. And sometimes I sound like Sebastian Maniscalco. Or Andrew Dice Clay, if you heard of him from the 80s. He was a huge superstar comedian from the 80s. I was born in the 80s. Now I'm an adult in the 20s. How is this working out? How is this decade working out for you? I don't know, man. It's funky. It's weird to be in the present, because a lot of shit is going on. It's like, shit just doesn't feel like in stone anymore. I'm disillusioned from the world of like things being like real and good. What do I mean by that? Like, it's hard for a community to persist and last in a healthy way. There's always internal drama. There's always people that hate the other people in your community. And it's like, is this real? No, it's just an illusion. Anything that's a construct, a human construct, is artificial. And so how do you live in that world, knowing that anything that you thought was good as a kid, like, oh, what if I get to a successful business? What if I'm in a successful band? What if I'm a successful comedian? It'll be all great and peachy, hunky-dory for the rest of my life. Well, no. It's going to be a struggle, and it's not going to feel real, even if it is as close to real as you could get. Everybody is struggling to maintain the illusion of success. I'm not. I'm killing it. Everything you see about me is real. Nah. This podcast is about self-improvement. That's one of the topics that I cover, that I want it to. It's one of the core topics. Because everyone's going through, like, everyone has faults. Everyone has issues and defects in their personality that, some of which are very deep-rooted. And it's hard to get out of it. It's hard to pull yourself out of the muck. It's hard to break patterns of behavior. And if you could do that, that's why people clap when they say, oh, I've been sober, I'm 6 months sober, and then they automatically clap. Or if you say, I lost 50 pounds in the past year, people clap, because they like self-improvement, because it's something that's hard to do, and it's just like, hey, good for you. Even if it's like, oh, I've lost more weight than you. Fuck, I lost 100 pounds. Who cares? Everyone has their own. That's not the point. It's not about the record breaking. It's about, hey. So my story is being chronicled on this very podcast. And I guess one of my stories one of my threads of behavior that I'm trying to break has been sobriety, alcohol. I quit alcohol about 8 months ago, exactly 8 months ago, give or take. Who gives a fuck? Yeah, within a couple days of 8 months ago is when I quit alcohol. It was a rude awakening. I got into a pileup. Nah, nobody got hurt. I didn't kill anybody, no permanent damage occurred. But that's not minimizing the fact that I needed to take a hard look at myself, because I moved here with this, like, I don't know, I guess I thought I could just get away with just like being drunk all the time. And you can. It's not that hard. Being drunk all the time is not the worst way to get through life. I mean, there's a reason people do it. There's a reason people just every day get drunk for most of the day. It's because life kind of sucks. It's like life is brutal, and alcohol makes it tolerable. It gives you this feeling of like, yay, this is not that bad. Let's have fun. Let's talk to this fucking crazy. Let's just start talking to somebody that I would normally not want to talk to because they look like they're weird. Like I don't want to get involved in their fucking life. But when you're on alcohol, it's like, fuck it, dude. Let's hang out. Let's have a ball. Let's intermingle our problems and see what happens. Because who gives a fuck, man? If you're going through life without alcohol, that fucking, you better get better at life. If you just stay at the same level that you started with, it's going to suck. If you quit drinking and have to all of a sudden face reality without the help of alcohol, it's like without that feeling of like it doesn't matter, this light levity feeling, you're feeling the harshness of everyday life. It's like, what's the point of this again? Why am I doing this? Just wake up. You have to do all these chores or else everything deteriorates. If I don't clean my house, if I don't pay the bills, it all just goes down the fucking tubes. What's the point of that? Where's the reprieve from that? Where's the fun? Where the fuck is the fun in being sober? Yeah, that's a question I'm still trying to answer, and it happens here and there, and it feels when I do have something good happen, or when I create my own happiness, it's more rewarding. It's a long-term. It just feels more legitimate. If I have a fun night of like socializing with people without alcohol, and I feel woken up and like comfortable in my own skin, and I could shoot the shit with people and like show my true personality in a way that's not offensive and like turns people off, that's actually a lot better. It just is an uphill battle because I get into these very bad, dark moods where I can't hide the fact that I'm in a depressive mood, and I go out just to get out of the house to be around people, and I have to not take things for granted. The fact that, hey, this is not so bad, just don't bring other people down. And that's one of the struggles of being somebody with severe depression, is like you don't want to bring other people down, so you isolate yourself, and that makes it even worse. And that's part of the problem. That's why a lot of depressed people just like fade away into oblivion, and just they get so used to that feeling that they think it's correct. They think they just relish. I forgot the word for it. For when you just go into it, when you just let the depression kind of overtake you, and you feed into it. You go, yeah, this is the way I'm supposed to feel. That's a bad thing to do, because it's a deep-rooted thing, and I'm working on it. I hate it. It's actually very, you do suffer. Like, I'm very, like, I don't know what it is about me, where I could be severely depressed and, like, wake up at, like, 6 p.m. and just not do anything, but I'm still somewhat functional. I still eventually shower, brush my teeth, wash my clothes. I take care of the bare minimum, but that's just right. It's bad that I'm just able to think of it as normal. I'm able to go about my life with severe depression and not do anything about it, and that's something I'm trying to address. I need to do what's right for me, because this is another thing about this podcast is we promote self-love. We promote on this podcast you putting yourself first. You can't just be the sponge of other people's problems and have them bring you down with nothing in return. That's not a real friendship. You can't just be somebody else's loofah for their emotional fucking struggle and then have them be like, okay, goodbye, and then leave you in the fucking, just fucking abandon you it's like, okay, now that I gave you what you needed, you're just going to fucking go about the rest of your day and leave me with the fucking baggage and not be able to get my shit out. So, no, I don't like that. I like to be around people that make me feel better. I don't like to be around people that make me fucking feel empty inside. I feel like, what the fuck? You just robbed me of my, you just put me in a worse mood than I was. And I've been taking a lot of the magical mushrooms. Not right now. I'm very sober at the moment, but I took a big dose last night, and I went out, and I was, I knew I was in a bad place. Like, I knew that something could set me off if I let that happen. So I knew to avoid certain people or whatever. And that's fine. Yeah, nothing happened, but I was not in the best mood. So I was like, so the second that somebody gave me a vibe that didn't match my vibe, they're like, I showed that I wasn't happy with them, and they could tell. I wasn't in the mood. I couldn't hide my problems. So I wasn't going to be like, yes, how are you today? Like, I just didn't have that generosity. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I could just go up to somebody and be like, yo, how are you doing? And like actually get them to tell me how they're doing, like for real. Like, tell me what's going on. What is your struggle that you're going through right now? I'm pretty good at getting people to open up about their own problems, and then, it's rewarding sometimes. Like, I get so fixated on, what am I getting out of this town? When is it going to be me getting everything I want in my pursuit of comedy? You could get very depressed if all you look at is like social climate. Like, I want to only hang around with people that are better than me, that could help me further my own career. It's very easy to fall into that trap of why am I wasting my time talking to somebody that isn't above, that can't help me? That's a bad mentality to be in, because you look like a douchebag, because then you're going to be very short with people. Like, if they're just starting out and they can't help you get on whatever, if they can't further your career, it's like, yeah, great. You just write them off, and like, you look like a dick. And people don't like that. And also, you get unhappy because you get bored. And this is not something I could just snap my fingers and have it go away. If I'm around if I'm at a place, and like a comedy club or a coffee shop, and there's nobody there that I give a fuck about, that I want to hang out with, I'll just get depressed. I'll get lonely. Like, okay, well, I know I don't want to just go home. So I just would be alone and what is the word? I'll just post up at a table alone, and maybe some people will come towards me and hang out with me if I'm in the right mindset. If I put out the right vibe, people will come to me. I think there's an aura that everybody puts out. If I'm on mushrooms, that increases my emotional openness, in that I've just noticed that if I'm on mushrooms, that puts me in this feeling of like being surrounded by love. That's what they feel like. You could have a dark, negative trip, but I take the right amount where it just makes me feel like I'm surrounded by this blanket of love that comes from nature. And if I have that aura around me, other people will pick up on it and gravitate towards me. And so the point I'm trying to make is that I'm cool. I'm becoming one of the cool guys in Austin comedy. That's why I'm wearing the sunglasses. That's why I'm wearing the shirt with my own name on it. It's not merch. This is not a shirt that you could just buy. It's just me advertising my own coolness as a brand. Timmy Gusto, watch out. He's taking over. He's an example of what coolness is in 2022. If you're a white guy who's straight, you gotta figure something out. You can't just be a beta male. And my brand is very domineering. It's very like, look at me. I take up a lot of time just doing shit on stage that shows that I am trying to like milk every little bit of glitz and glam. I'm trying to just be glamorous and be like, look at me. And I take off my sunglasses. That's part of the persona that I'm building. And it works sometimes. For the most part, if I really feel it, then it is funny to see somebody go up there and treat it as if they're like doing a headliner set when it's just an open mic. But anyway, so I was on mushrooms last night, and I was like, and this dude came up to me, was like, yo, how do I get on this? Who runs this? I was like, dude, don't bother me. Don't come up to me and ask me that fucking information. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to like just help you get on stage. And so I kind of gave him a bad vibe. I was like, dude, yeah, whatever. It's that guy. Figure it out. And he could like, it just rubbed me the wrong way because it was not the vibe. So it's not cool to just go up to people and be like, yeah, how can you give me something? How can you immediately give me the thing that I came here for? It's like, dude, that's not very generous of you to just go up to me like that with that kind of energy. Be a little more generous, and then I'll tell you what you need. Yeah, so, you got to read people's vibe. You got to be generous to people. And you can't just be all about you, me, you. It's all like you got to learn how to be cool. And so that's another thing I was talking about, because I don't know. Being cool is definitely a rare thing, and it's like you can't call yourself cool. It's not how it works. But I know when I'm doing it. I know it when I see it. Coolness just means like being aloof. Just means like be like, yeah, whatever. Even if you got nothing to say, you could still be cool. Cool is not always being the one to say things. The cool person is the one that just lets things happen in front of them. Like there could be a conversation where everyone's getting all crazy and like arguing and like trying to one up each other. The cool person is the one in the back with their legs up, just be like, I don't care what y'all are talking about, whatever. Don't give a fuck. And then they go, oh, look at you. He doesn't even care. So it's not the guy trying to think of the funny thing to say. That's not cool, man. It's cool. Like this shirt, for example, is cool. That's a thing. Not everybody has like good style. It's a skill to dress cool. But this shirt is based on a Gucci shirt. I did not design it. I copied it from a Gucci shirt. It's called Gucci Blade. And it came out very nice. It was very expensive. And I can't wear it every day because that would be really not cool. You gotta only wear your cool clothing once in a blue moon. I have a shirt that I've only ever worn once in Texas. I've worn it in Chicago once too. That's it though. You don't want to re-wear your coolest shirt because people will be like, yeah, that again. It's like, that was cool the one time you wore it. Because I know what it feels like to wear a really cool outfit and you notice people looking at you. It's like, I like that they're looking. I like that kind of attention because I earned it. I paid money. I selected the outfit. I got it tailored, whatever. Attention to detail is so crucial in coolness. Like this shirt, I put hours of time into, like the proportions, like making it look exactly the same as the Gucci. Like I didn't just snap it out of my fucking. I put a lot of time into that, and I don't know. So anyway, self-improvement. So what I'm really struggling with in my current day and age of my life is getting out of bed, having energy, having motivation. I have this fatigue, this background chronic fatigue that is in my brain. It gives me brain fog, and it's debilitating. And I don't know what's causing it. I think it could be a form of long COVID. Because that's when I first started noticing it. When I had COVID for the first time back in February of 2021, about a year and a half ago, and it's still pretty bad. So say what you want about COVID being not a big deal. I think it is a big deal. I think a lot of people have suffered from long COVID, and that's when I started noticing my comedy going down. I just wasn't as present and funny and quick because of the brain fog, and I'm still struggling with it to this day, and I don't have a solution. I'm trying to do what I can without going to a psychiatrist. I need a psychiatrist for just the whole depression thing. I think if you have severe depression, you should probably go to a therapist and get some treatment. I think CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, would be a very good thing for me. Because I just have these self-esteem issues. That's why I got to dress so cool all the time. That's why I put thought into my image. Because if I feel cool, that I look nice, I will feel better about myself. And I'll perform better. I'll have more swagger. I'll have more confidence. But I think that's a deep-rooted issue that I need to address, because my self-esteem is in the shitter. I could be pretty good at things if I believe in myself, and if I feel like I deserve to be up there, I'll do good at comedy. But it's been faltering. I've been going down this negative decline of oh, I suck. I'm not good enough to be here, even though most people are way worse at it than me. I've been doing it for 10 years almost, going on 10 years. So I know that I should be better. And so it doesn't matter to me that most other people are not as good. They've been doing it for less time. So part of the reason I'm still an open micer is because I don't believe in myself. I don't genuinely think I am good enough to have a career in comedy. But then there's another part of me that knows that that's bullshit and that I actually am good enough. I just need to get my health. I need to get my mental health in check. That's it. I need to be able to wake up and have the motivation to work on my jokes before the shows are happening, not wake up at 6 p.m. and only have an hour to get ready and go to the show. So that's my problem. See, I have a rare problem. I'm funny. I just don't have the agility, the thrust, and the physical motivation to just get out of bed, do the heavy lifting, work on jokes, actually do the craft, do the job. I could have done a road gig a couple days ago, but I was just I don't feel like driving there. And my car is not good it's just, it'll get another flat tire and all that shit. Don't want to put more miles on my Tesla. But I could have if I wanted to, and I just didn't. So if you don't even want to do the gigs, then then you can't really complain that you're not getting that many. Man, so that's my problem. It's not that I'm not funny. I know, and that's a thing to not take for granted too. It's most people, I hate to say this, aren't funny. They just weren't gifted with they weren't sprinkled with the fairy dust of funniness. It's a gene. It just comes, or it's just something you develop as a kid. I don't know. For me, I do take it for granted because I was always funny. Naturally, I always had that ability. Even as my first memory as a kid, 3, somebody told me I could be a comedian. I was 3, and an adult in his 40s was you could be a comedian. I was Okay. So that was one of my first memories. So of course I know I could be one. And I am kind of a comedian. I don't really think of myself as that because I'm not getting paid. I'm not a professional comedian. I'm an amateur. But I am. And like being funny is such a rare thing. And like to be genuinely, to know that you're funny, that's something that people struggle with. They don't even know if they're funny yet. Like at these open mics, there's these people that are super insecure. If somebody tells them they're not funny, they actually take it personally because they go, well, maybe I'm not. They don't know if they're funny yet. For me, I've been told enough times by other people that are really talented that I'm funny. So I don't really have that insecurity anymore. I know I'm funny. I could bomb worse than any comedian in the whole show, and I do all the time, but it doesn't really affect me as much anymore because I know it's just I just fucked up in a way that I probably chose to do. Like I kind of can turn it on and off. I could decide if I want to like try. I could decide, okay, I'm going to actually try to do well. But most of the time, if I'm just at a shitty open mic and I don't give a fuck about anyone there, I'll be like, you know what? I'm just going to bomb because it makes me feel alive. Because then it motivates me to have a reason to try later on. Open mics, you're not even supposed to do well at. Who cares if you bomb at an open mic? You're kind of supposed to. I like to just do open mics. If I have a show later that night, I will try my best to hit an open mic just to remember what it's like to be on stage and talk into a microphone. That's another reason I often don't do well in this town, is because I don't talk to anybody. I don't have a day job where I warm up my talkative, where I just learn how to, I don't know, use my voice. So that's a huge factor. If the very first thing I'm saying to somebody is on stage into a microphone, it'll feel so alien. Like, here I am talking. I haven't done this all day. So, but the point I was making about how, like, it doesn't even matter. Like, if I eat dick and I bomb in such a hard way, it's like, okay, doesn't mean I'm not funny. So, because I've been told that I'm funny by my favorite comedians, not in the world, but in my hometown. In Chicago, I was told by people that I look up to that I'm funny in a genuine way. They weren't just being nice. They actually meant it. So, I don't know. That just gives you like this bulletproof vest. It just gives you this patina, like this shield, because you know that who cares? Like anything you say, you could be like, well, I know I'm funny, so I don't have to worry about if someone else doesn't like it because I'm the one saying it and I'm a comedian. The part of actually making it a job. Now that is the part that I'm trying to get serious about. That's why I got the new stage name Timmy Gusto. People ask me how it's pronounced, so I don't know if that was a good move to pick a name that's also has different pronunciations, but it doesn't fucking matter. It's a made-up name. I pronounce it Gusto because it's the English word. Gusto is an English word. It means like having a lot of chutzpah. It means like, look at this. He has a lot of gusto. But other people can pronounce it Gusto, and that's fine. I don't give a fuck. So if somebody tells me, how do you pronounce it? I just go, up to you. Doesn't fucking matter. It's a brand. It's a fake name. I'm starting to get used to it. It is not the worst name. It goes with my persona, and I like that it has the same number of characters in it as Gucci. Because this t-shirt, just wearing this shirt makes me feel like more of a complete person. And I hate to say that's how fucking like delicate I am. My ego, I have to, like, as much as I know I'm always going to be funny, I know I do not like that I'm struggling to be funny all the time. Pre-COVID, I had so much confidence. I had this persistent confidence of just every day. I was excited to just get on stage, even at a shitty open mic in the back room of a diner in front of 2 other comedians. I knew I would still have fun because I was just riding this wave of confidence that was like real. I was like, hey, I'm funny. I know I'll probably be at least better than most of the people at this open mic. And now that I'm in a different scene and I'm in a bigger market, like Texas is a huge market. There's several big cities that are way bigger than just Chicago. And you're going to meet other funny people that are doing better than you on stage. They might not be funnier than you, like, pound for pound, but they're doing better than me on stage because they're just better at it than me at the moment. And that makes me it makes me feel inadequate. It's like, okay, what am I doing? What do I got to do? Why am I failing at something that I know I've been able to do before? What the hell is going on? And part of it is the chronic fatigue. And so this brings me to one of the issues that I've been struggling with besides what I already talked about, which is the fatigue and chronic severe depression. It's what I do as a coping mechanism as somebody who lives alone and has no governor, has no bedtime, daytime. I have no day job. I have nothing to keep me grounded. I don't have a wife. I don't have any kids. I don't have any pets. So what I do pretty much every day of my life is I overeat. And I've been starting to do some research on overeating, and it's called, there's a disorder that I probably have called binge eating disorder. Do I have it? Most definitely. I mean, am I able to diagnose myself with this? No, you have to have a professional diagnose you. But do I have it? Yeah. I would bet a lot of money that I have this fucking disorder. And I don't look like it. I don't look like I have binge eating disorder because I'm not fat. But I've been overweight. I know what it's like to have a gut that kind of sticks out, and it made me feel very ashamed of myself when I was weighing about 140. When I'm in the 140s, I definitely have like a gut. That's overweight for me. I'm only 5'3", so that would be considered overweight in the BMI, according to that. So I could even lose a few more pounds. I'm like 125 right now, but it's going up. It's going up because I'm fucking up. And so I every night, it's compulsory. That's the thing about binge eating is it's not just like, okay, do I want to do, like once you set your mind on it, on food, it's like, yeah, I'm definitely going to order food. I can't stop myself. I'm going to eat and tune out until I'm uncomfortably full. And then you're going to feel shame afterwards, like, why the fuck did I do that? And you feel trapped into this cycle. And it's just, that's why it's a disorder. And the only thing that separates binge eating disorder from bulimia or anorexia is the purging, the lack of purging. If you're just a binge eater, you don't purge, but you might fast as a way to try to tamp down, to stop you from doing it. See, the thing about it is, like, you need to eat. It's not like heroin. You don't need to do heroin every day of your life to survive. You kind of do need to, at a certain point, eat food, like kind of close to every day. So that's the fucking brutal part about it, is you have to be able to distinguish between if you're doing it out of necessity or if you're doing it because you want to be doing it. And I do know that line. I could tell when I'm doing it just to fill the hole, because there's nothing else going on. It's like I need to feel like I'm doing something productive today, and the only thing that I have the energy to do is move my mouth, just like is to eat, to chew food and feel it going down and feeling yourself getting full. That feels like an achievement, even though it's an unhealthy one. It's like, okay, I did something, I consumed calories, and then you feel this discomfort, this comfortable discomfort of being full. And you could feel that you're full physically, but then you're not still psychologically full. That's something I just learned about, but I also already knew deep down. I already knew that I was doing that, but I watched a little bit of YouTube videos about it and like how, yeah, you might be full. You could feel that your stomach is satiated, but that doesn't mean you're full psychologically. You still want to keep going and going until you feel uncomfortably full. You want to feel that like, what did I do to myself? You want to feel that feeling of like self-inflicted pain. Just a little bit. I don't want to be like walking around with like the huge pain, like my stomach's going to burst, but you kind of do. That's when you could stop eating. It's like when you feel like you just did something harmful to yourself. It's a form of self-harm. And then the next day you tell yourself, I'm not going to do that again. Starting tomorrow, I'm going to go back to eating clean. I'm going to go back to keto. And it never happens. It's just so fucking hard when you have nothing going on that all night and you know you're going to be up and you know that if you start fasting, that's only going to make you stay up even later and later because fasting makes it hard to sleep. So it's like you're not going to be able to get it out of your head. And then it becomes this thing you just have to do. I have to order food or make something happen where I go to I often get shit delivered. I'm in a privileged, so that's what I'm struggling with right now is binge eating. And part of it is getting rid of the cravings by cutting out certain foods. But even then, it's like you still want to do it with other foods, like with meat. Even if you're on keto, you want to just binge on keto foods, which is harder to do because it's more satiating. And then you still have this feeling of like, no, I'm still not satisfied. I want nuts. So cashews were the big problem. Those were that's what triggered me to binge eat is more than any other food is cashews because they're so fucking fun to eat. They taste delicious. The texture is out of this world. My favorite type of cashews are just unsalted, raw, roasted, I guess. So not raw. I don't know what the difference is. I like both. I like raw and I like roasted cashews. But my favorite kinds are the kinds that are the most crunchy, hard, that just break apart in your mouth. I love breaking them in half I love just biting into them, breaking them in half. And I could eat an endless amount. And you're not supposed to, it's bad. So I've cut cashews out of my life. I have to pretend that cashews are extinct like an animal. I have to be like, I have to like pretend that they just died as a nut. I have to be like, I'm currently in mourning. I'm mourning the loss of cashews from my diet. And I have to take that seriously. And so it's been a couple days since I've eaten a cashew, but I've replaced it with other nuts like Brazil nuts and pecans. They're not as fun to binge on. They just aren't. And macadamia nuts are also very hard to binge on because they're so filling and they just don't reward you in the same way that cashews do. And I'm sorry that I'm spending so much time talking about this nut. And it's a theme of this podcast to talk about how much I love cashews. It's not the first time I've done it, but like, I guess if I'm talking about it on this podcast, it makes me more likely to try to actually recover. So, and I'm not on keto right now. If I'm on keto, there's this thing that happens if you're doing it properly. You become fat adapted. That means that your body is running on ketones. It's running on fat instead of carbs. And that is a hard transition to get into. It takes sacrifice. You have to like be like, nope, I'm just going to get through the cravings. Right now I have cravings, especially since I've been talking about nuts so much, my weakness. I'm also craving meat. That's a good thing. It's better to have a craving for meat, like especially fatty meats. So my goal is to get back onto keto, like for real, because it makes me so much better. It makes me feel more energized, makes me get through the brain fog that I've been talking about. But to get into it is pretty hard. When you live alone, when there's nobody helping you out, nobody like sucking your dick and putting you to sleep and telling you when to go to bed. It's like, that's one of the benefits of having a spouse or a girlfriend that lives with you, is she would go to bed at the same time as you and be like, okay, it's easier to get into a healthy habit or routine if you have somebody living with you. I'm off the fucking grid. And so that's what makes it extremely difficult. But I just know that, like, dude, I've been telling myself, like, you're good enough, you're funny enough to be a comedian. What's stopping you from being a comedian is your own problems, your mental health. So, I've been becoming obsessed with comedy. I've been becoming more passionate about the art form, and just I have a deep respect for stand-up comedy. I don't always take it seriously for my own sets, but I respect other people's. I just know that it's something that I have to keep pursuing. As dark, like as hurtful as it is to be a comedian, because it really is, you go through a lot of ups and downs. But on this planet, it's what I derive the most pleasure from. So I need to actually take it seriously with a sober mind and a healthy approach, and like not waste people's time and actually put the work in. Because if I actually rehearse my jokes like for hours a day, I will do better on a show. If I go through every joke and like multiple times say it into a microphone in my house, I'll eventually gain confidence. Like, well, okay, I know how my set's going to go, and I've rehearsed it, so what's the worst I'm going to be prepared. If you do the homework, you will be prepared for the test. If you study. So I know that I'm capable of that. It's just that I don't have the energy because of mental illness. That's it, mental problems. So I've been trying to fucking churn through it, and one of the things that I know will help is if I get back on keto. I just have to keep going, man, because you go through these ups and downs. You go because Austin, Texas is the comedy mecca right now. So it's very competitive, and there's other people here that want it really badly, and there's people that aren't good enough at it yet to think that they deserve it. And I'm starting to realize that I'm actually pretty good at it, and people are starting to come to me, like hang out with me and like give me attention because they see that I'm actually pretty okay at it, and they could tell I'm not an asshole all the time. I'm not like a crazy person who burns bridges. Like, I'm not the worst person to hang out with. I could be boring at times because I'm not drinking, but who cares? It's better to be boring than to be unpredictable and crazy and start drama. People don't like that. People like somebody that's just like a good hang, that's like, like that isn't going to be a dick. Like, just be cool, be chill. People like chill people who aren't just trying to like be the center of attention and like take what is not deserved. Comedy is a slow burn. So it's really, I don't want to just be a cautionary tale. I don't want to just be a dude who's older, who's stuck around, who still does it, hasn't quit, but is just there to show other comics, new comics, young comics, what not to do. Because when I was just starting out, when I was 23 or 22, I looked at these older guys who were like in their 30s, 40s, who had a slight opportunity maybe at one point in their long career and then never got anywhere, but then go around bitching about it. Like, oh man, I had this one opportunity 10 years ago and I didn't get it, and now it fucked me up for the rest of my life. Now I just go around bitching about how comedy's bullshit and how the industry's unfair. And now I just talk shit about the other comedians that started around the same time as me, that are doing way better, that are light years ahead of me, that were mean to me or something, that were, I don't know, didn't say hi to me at a party, and now I'm just going to make it my fucking cross to bear to talk shit about Pete Holmes or someone that started at the same time as me. It's like, dude, I knew that that's an unhealthy thing to do. I know that I didn't want to be that. So I don't want to be just some old guy that is bitter and just talk shit. Like, fuck this industry. It's bullshit. Everyone who got anywhere, they didn't fucking deserve it. They just cheated their way to the top. And that's fucking bullshit. Not everybody that makes it is just somebody who did something, who just sucked somebody's dick or something. There's some great comics that deserve their success because they just kept going. They kept their head down. They didn't just walk around with an axe to grind, complaining. They just kept focused. They just used the stage time to their benefit. They didn't give a fuck about other people and what they deserve or not. They just went on stage and kept making the best of their stage time, and that's it. It's not that complicated, because there's very few people that are good at comedy and not bitter and not crazy and good to hang out with. There's very, very few people that are talented and not assholes, that are not narcissists, because there's, it's very easy to become a narcissist. If you're truly talented, people are going to give you they're going to give you praise and tell you you're talented. So that could go to your head. And people don't like to be around that. So it's super few and far between to be good at comedy and a good hang and not an asshole. So that's it. So that's what I'm telling myself. It's like, okay, you got something going for you. Don't fucking go down the negative path. Because it's really, I didn't think I would actually do well in Austin. I don't know what I thought. I guess I had some optimism when I moved here. I was like, I'm going to fuck it. As I was driving in here, I was pretty excited. I was like, you know what? I know that I have some clinical problems, mental health issues, but I was excited to be driving into this new city. And I was like, I'm going to fucking take it. I'm going to be one of the best comics in Austin. And I know that is possible to do that. There's other issues, like politics. I have to probably not keep saying bad things on stage, because I do like to allude to the fact that I am a problematic white person, but it's a joke. I don't actually hate anyone by their race. I'm not a true racist. I allude to it because it's fun. It's fun to say that I'm racist, because then I'm taking the power away from other people who tell me I am. It's no, I already identify as that. I'm just kidding. I don't actually hate fucking people. But, so I don't know. That could be a problem. But who gives a fuck? You just got to be funny. Just keep being funny. And so the Kill Tony thing, I did it twice now, and the episode came out since last time I did this podcast. And it took me a while to decide if I even wanted to watch it back. I don't like watching myself, So I did watch it back, and I edited it and put it on my YouTube, blah, blah. I went up as Timmy Gusto, so that's why it's a permanent stage name. I'm going to only use that name from now on to go on anything, except for this podcast. And I did pretty well. Not the set. The set was okay. I didn't bomb. But I didn't kill either, by any means. Didn't kill. I know when I kill. I know what killing is. I know what it feels like. I know what it looks like. I know what the number of laughs per minute is that you need in order to kill. So that was not the best part. The best part was the interview. And it was, in the moment, I was like, this is a blast. This is the most fun I've ever had on stage, at least that I can remember. And it was in front of Ari Shaffir, one of my comedy idols. I look up to him immensely. I've been his fan for a decade, at least, if not 15 years. Amazing Racist on YouTube was one of the first viral videos I've ever seen, and it holds up. It was fucking hilarious. I was like, this is true comedy. This is real comedy. And so I did my set in front of him. I could tell he was kind of enjoying it. He was smiling a little bit. And then, so they didn't really ask me any real questions. They were just making fun of the fact that I was short. But more so than that, they were making fun of my accent, because I was in a very tired mood. For that set, for that Kill Tony, I had been up for about 24 hours or so, something like that. I was up for like almost a full day. I couldn't get to sleep. Part of it was because I actually was excited to sign up for Kill Tony. So I was preparing for that appearance all fucking day and night. I was rehearsing my bits over and over until I was like, yep, I'm ready. I just said them into a microphone so many times that I was like, okay, I know how to do it. So I kind of was like super ready to go up. And I was so excited when they said my name. Timmy Gusto is your next comic. And I was like walking up to the stage. And such a great crowd. But I was overtired is the point that I'm getting at. I was very tired and a little bit delirious. Wasn't a bad thing, though. It made me not really give a fuck about what was happening. So they kept asking me, like, what is with your accent? Why are you talking like that? Why do you sound like an Italian mobster? Like, nobody from Chicago talks like that. And I was like, I don't know, man. And I couldn't stop doing it. And it kept going more and more into it. They were like, dude, what movie did you watch before this? Did you watch Goodfellas? Like, what is it? And then on Ari, like, because they said, you sound like Sebastian. I was like, yeah, people tell me that. And Ari was like, yeah, it's because you're doing it. It's because you're trying to. But then later on, as I kept doing it, he was like, you know what? I'm starting to believe the accent. I think it's real. I think he's in it for good. Like, and it was fun to watch him be amused the more because anytime I answered a question, it just kept happening. I was like, they're like, so which of your parents are you closer with? I was like, out of my parents, and then that just got a laugh. And it got a real laugh. And Tony just kept making fun of me for that. It was like, Dad, you like deep dish? It's like, yeah. So I couldn't stop doing it. And I do it when I'm on stage. Is it genuine? I don't know. I've been doing it for long enough. Like, at least, I can't remember when I started sounding like that. It was at least 5 years ago. And I was like, is it probably that I'm copying other comedians? Yes, for sure. Yeah, because I even do it with Trump. I even start to sound like Trump. I'm like, yeah, we're doing great. We're doing great. Everything's great. It's great. But I don't know. I'm pretty new at comedy. Even 10 years in, I still feel like, I'm pretty new at this. It takes 20 years to become a great comedian, I think. And by then, hopefully, I'll have a more unique delivery style. But it's hard to ditch a delivery style that works because it's all about the laughs per minute. Like, it could have been, I could have toned it down when they asked me who you're closer with of your parents, I could have been like, let me think about that. I could have purposely toned it down, but it helped. I was like, got my parents there. Like, that immediately got a laugh. So what's the problem? And so I ended the set. As they were getting me off stage, I was like, I kept alluding to the fact that I had a bar of gold on me. And I kept trying to like hint at it to give them a reason for them to ask if I had gold on me. I was like, I'm kind of cash poor. I got all my money tied up in gold and Bitcoin, and all Jews have gold, by the way. And they asked Ari, is that true? I was like, I'm not going to tell. I'm not going to tell. So then at the end of the set, I knew I wasn't going to not bring it out because I planned this out. I planned it out for 2 weeks in a row. I had this bar of gold on me. I was like, it'd be funny, just throw it on the table. Like, here's my fucking gold. And so that's what I did. As they were playing me off, I was like, here's my gold, by the way. Bling! And then I walked off, and they're like, whoa, wait, what the fuck? Is that real? And my favorite part is watching the close-up of Ari like look at it and realize that it's real. It's like, this is fucking real. And he put it in his mouth to bite on it. And that's when I knew it was real. Like, you want that back, right? I was like, yeah, don't worry about it, man. I'll get it back later. I don't give a fuck. I was just playing into the character. And so I guess that was a good way to end it. Because I was like, because they were like, seriously, why did you bring, or who the fuck walks around with gold on them? I was like, I just thought it'd be funny. I'm just being honest. I thought it'd be funny. And Ari was like, yeah, it was pretty funny. They actually did lead to funny things. So I got off stage, left it up there, got it back after the show. I had to ask for it back. Can I please get that back? I just can't. But I was very satisfied in the way it went. Like, I felt very accomplished in that set. Like, I felt very validated. Ari, because if a real comic tells you that you did something funny, yeah, that's a good feeling. So I don't know if I'm ready to do it again. Like, I have to like kind of I have to keep doing better and better sets and interviews, and I don't know if I have anything new and interesting to say that would top the last appearance, but I feel like I have to go back on there pretty soon because they know me now. Like, that fucking last set or interview and the whole thing about it led to Tony, the dude that runs the dude that it's named after, Kill Tony, the dude Tony. He remembers me from that. He doesn't always remember people. Like, and I know this because he came up to me on the sidewalk of a place that I was gonna go at a karaoke bar. He was like, hey, you, it's the guy. You're the funny guy. You were pretty funny on the blah, blah. And I was like, thank you. That means a lot. Like, we stopped and talked for a couple minutes. And, like, he was like, you're funny. I don't remember exactly what he said. But he was like, it's good that you're here. You're funny, blah, blah. That's what he said. I was like, thank you. That means a lot. And then I saw him again at Vulcan at a different show, and he was like, and he gave me a fist bump, and he said, hey, funny guy. There's a fucking housefly. They keep multiplying. Every time a housefly dies, a new one replaces it. I think there's like a fucking breeding ground in my, anyway, just Texas. I don't like them. They're very annoying. So he gave me this fist bump and said, hey, funny guy, funny man. So he remembers me, and he remembers me in a way that is like a very like important way to be remembered. Like, if you're trying to be a comedian and the dude that runs Kill Tony says you're funny, it makes you kind of want to like keep going. So I feel pressure to keep going there. But it's tough, man. Kill Tony's like a tough show. Like, you kind of have to, it really is a test to show like if you could do well in front of an audience that wants you to not do well. Like, if you try to make too many jokes, they will not like that because it's not they want to make fun of you. They don't want to see you override the system. So, it's like really a crushing show to do sometimes. I've seen people get so fucking hurt on it. People that I like, even people like, wow, you even did bad on it. Like, but it's like, I guess that makes sense. If you're only a couple of years in, you're not going to be able to like take things not so seriously. If you're 10 years in, you've already bombed so much that like you have more of a sense of humor about yourself. You don't take things as seriously. Sometimes you do. Sometimes it's the complete opposite, and you take things way too seriously. But like if you're in the right attitude about, if you're able to laugh at yourself, you'll do way better on Kill Tony, even if you bomb, even if your minute bombs. And it would be cool to be a regular on there. I don't know. It would be cool, but like doing that every fucking week seems pretty like weird, to have to like go through the roasting thing and like, what is interesting about you? What happened in the past week that we could talk about? Like Hans Kim. I don't know if I would want to be him. Like, obviously, I do want to be him because he gets a lot of gigs. He gets to hang out with Joe Rogan and tour with him and do arenas and get paid. But what he had to do to get there, he had to kind of like humiliate himself a little bit. Like, he had to have people make out with him every week. Like, that was the segment that he became known for, is like having random women go on stage to make out with him. That would be kind of like dehumanizing for me. So like if that's what it takes to become something, I don't know, man. But he's also a good joke writer, and he is capable of like doing a nice 20-30 minute set, and I do respect him as a comic. I don't think he respects me as a comic. Maybe he does. I did a road. He saw me do well. He said I did well. But I don't know. Man. Life. I just want to keep going, man. I just want to get through the shit I'm going through right now that's causing the brain fog. I just know when I'm not performing at the level that I can. And that's the worst feeling in the world. It's like knowing that you could be doing better, but feeling like you got this handicap. So I'm going to see if keto does anything. I'm going to try to become fat adapted, where I only consume the healthy amount, where I don't just eat to fill a psychological vacuum. And, I got nothing to hide. I am pretty honest on this podcast. This has been a very serious episode, and I got nothing funny to say. 3:50 in the morning is when I'm coming to you, is when I'm recording this. And, you need a community. You need people to hang out with, because this city shuts down at 2 a.m. and there's nothing to do if you don't drink. So you need to find people that are up late at night. Red Band, I was hanging out with him. He does the virtual reality. He does whatever it's called, VR. Yeah, virtual reality. He does that until like 4 a.m, dog. And it's like I could join him with that, but I feel like I don't even have like the social confidence to even do that, to even be on like a VR chat with people. That's how introverted I am. But he's a cool guy, and he remembers me now that I've done Kill Tony twice, and he said I did okay on there, and it's like, yeah, that feels pretty good. I don't know why it doesn't last that long. Like I don't know. I guess I just want it to continue. I just know that just because you did well once doesn't mean they're going to keep coming up to you, and they're not. You have to keep going out and proving yourself as a comedian all the time. And then after a while, it'll solidify, and you won't have to do it as often. Like Dave Chappelle has proven himself so many times over that people give him the benefit of the doubt. You go, okay, he's always going to be a legend. Dave Attell, same thing. He's proven himself so many times that like nobody gives a fuck what he's doing every day. He doesn't have to work as hard anymore. But, I'm sure other people would. I'm sure he always feels like he does. I don't know, because you never feel happy with where you're at. I don't know. I've just been tantalized. I've been tantalized by like getting to know what it's like to do well on Kill Tony, that it's like, well, shit, I actually could open for Rogan if I actually continue pushing myself. So it's like I gotta solve whatever's in the way of that. And that is what I've been talking about. So Timmy Gusto is who I am. I'm gonna be big someday. I'm almost up to 100 followers on Instagram, which I don't take for granted. I don't know, it's not all about social media. Social media is not important. It's way more important to do well on stage. Get laughs where other people are not getting laughs. Just do something to show that you're memorable, and then people will remember you. And like, I get external validation, but I don't get a lot of internal validation these days because I know that I'm not performing to my best ability. So I'm not feeling like that whimsy, that satisfaction. It's very hard to get stage time here if you're not like asking for it. Because I know I could probably get on shows if I like asked, hey, can I do a guest spot? But I don't want to if I don't feel ready. So I'm still doing like 4-minute open mics, and it's like, that's not enough stage time. I need to do like 4 of those to feel satisfied. If I do 4-minute open mics, that's 16 minutes of stage time. It's like, okay, that's enough for one night to feel like I scratched the surface at least. I'm starting to get hungry for longer sets because I know I'm capable of doing at least 10 minutes of fun crowd work and just riffing and material. Like, I know sometimes it takes me more than a couple minutes to get people to understand what I'm doing, first of all, because I have this edgy persona, this like very self-grandiose character that I do. So it takes a little bit for people to get that it's just a joke. And then I could be funny when they realize when I'm being funny. And I gotta stop stepping on my own words. I do that a lot. I'll just be rattling off, just random shit, and then not giving people time to digest it. Sometimes if I just pause, that'll give people time to be like, oh, okay, that was, and then they laugh. There's so many things to comedy, and pacing is very important. You gotta know when to say shit. You can't just go up there and start slamming into material. Sometimes you just gotta feel out the room. Be like, hey, how we doing today? That's why comics, it's so common for the opening line to just be how you doing, is because you need to ask them how they're doing to fucking absorb the energy of the room. I don't know. You can't just go up and be like, so I'm dating. Dating's weird. I don't know. Sometimes you can. Just depends on the type of comic you are, the type of comedy you do. Some people are just straight to the punches. I like to feel out the room. I will riff about any little detail in the room. Anything. I'll just, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of professional comics do that. Some of my favorite comics do that. Mark Maron, Rich Voss are just masters of just riffing on the room and just being in the moment and enjoying, having fun on stage. And the more I talk about it, the more I want to fucking do it. The problem is, it's 4 a.m. There's nothing going on until, I don't know how many hours from now, 16, something like that, 24. No. About 16 hours or so is when I could actually perform. So that's the thing that sucks about being a vampire. It's like you're up all night, but then when the sun comes out, it's like, well, time to go to bed. Then when you wake up, it's like, well, time to not do anything because there's nothing going on, and I'm not ready to go. I'm just not in the right frame of mind. So, that's why people, they look at older comics, they go, well, he's not that good. For somebody 10 years in, why is he doing so bad? And that is what this podcast is for, is to explain why I do bad on stage. It's complicated, you go through shit. The longer you do it, it becomes harder, and you just don't want to be hack. The second I feel like I'm doing something hack, I suppress it. So, I hope that was a good explanation of why I've been bombing. You're only as good as your last set. And that's just something that you feel. That's a true thing that took me a while to understand what that means. It's like, no, you're not. You're not as good as your last set. What about the sets before that? It's like, well, those don't matter because you're not feeling them anymore. You're only feeling how you did the last time you were on stage. That's just how it feels. So if your last set was bad, you're going to be carrying around that feeling of like, I just bombed. So it's like, now I got to do better. If you just did well, you're going to feel like, fuck, now I got to do better than that. That's another feeling of that you got to get over. There's a lot of dynamics. And I guess another reason I'm going through this shit right now is because of crypto is very low right now. It's down, like really, really down. And so that does affect my mood, knowing that my net worth is going down by a lot. It's like, whoa. So I'm going to have to sell one of my cars pretty soon because I'm cash poor. And when you're not financially solvent, like when you're not making money, that is a pretty bad feeling. So so I'm just working on it. I'm just working through shit right now, man. And I need to find the people that I could relate to, man, to talk about this shit. It's lonely. It's lonely in the middle or wherever I am. But anyway, this has been episode 35 of the Tim Weichselbaum Show. Follow me on Instagram at Timmy Gusto. I will be putting out content. I am the leader of industry. I am the bleeding edge of coolness. So you don't want to not follow me. You don't want to miss out on what I'm doing because I'm trying to get better at life every day, baby. Hey-oh!